Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and a lot of crazy things are happening with the economy. And I've got a few articles here that I want to show you. But before I do, I want to introduce my guest who I brought on because of these two articles that I came across, and I thought, craziness is happening when the mainstream media is actually admitting economic devastation and putting out articles that literally make my hairs stand on end. And I thought, I've got to bring on an expert. Not only that, but some of the bankers are feverishly preparing. But I wanted to bring on Colin Plume with NobleGold Investments because he has a lot of great intel on that. Are you with me over there, Colin?
Yeah, hi Lisa. Great to be on here. And yeah, those articles were surprising, to say the least.
Yes, well, let me show the audience. Let me show you guys these articles that I'm talking about from the get-go. The first one that you see is from InfoWars, but bankers and tech executives know the collapse of society is coming and are feverishly preparing for it. And he asked the question, do they know something that we don't? The other one here is from the Economic Collapse blog, and it's the 11th hour, 8 examples of mainstream media sources warning us of imminent economic disaster. Now, we know that the mainstream media loves to lie a lot, but here's some of those articles. Here's one from Forbes. Disaster is inevitable when America's stock market bubble burst. CNBC, tech stock sell-off could be just the beginning if trade war with China worsens. Bloomberg, emerging market route is longest since 2008 as confidence cracks. CNN, Communist News Network, emerging markets look sick. Will they infect Wall Street? The Motley Fool, 6 signs that the next recession might be closer than we realize. Forbes, U.S. household wealth is experiencing an unsustainable bubble. CNBC, the emerging market crisis is back and time is serious. And Savannah, global debt soars along with fears of crisis ahead. So as you guys can see from their articles there is a ton. That's 9 separate articles warning of devastation. Just a reason I tell everybody, make sure you have gold and silver on hand. And I mean that because we don't know which way the U.S. economy is going to crumble, and gold maintains its value. And as you guys know, Colin Plume, he deals a lot with NobleGold Investments. You can convert your 401ks into something solid, even get that Trump coin, which obviously is 0.999% silver. But that fact aside, I'm just saying that because I mean it, and I know you guys provide that. What do you make of all those articles? What is going on?
Well, there's a few things going on. Number one, the global economy is in trouble. 2 things that stick out. Turkey's economy, their currency dropped by over 30% over the last 2 to 3 months. So their buying power is just rapid inflation that's happening in that country. And that happened a lot in 2008 when we had the last collapse. You saw a number of countries have their currencies devalue. You had extreme examples like Zimbabwe that went through, thousands and 1,000% inflation, and their currency dropped to absolutely nothing. So that's the first thing that sort of sticks out to me. Then you look at, you have the bailout of Argentina through the IMF, which the U.S. funds. So that and that hasn't corrected their economy, unfortunately. So we funded that bailout. They're still in trouble. And then the biggest thing is you have that bear market. If you look at that article, you look at China, the bear market there in their stock market is starting to have effect for the rest of the world. So you see the global economy really having some issues, and that's going to translate here eventually. That's why people are preparing. That's why they're moving away from riskier investments and getting into stable investments, tangible investments. But the global economy there's some definite warning signs, coupled with income in this country. People, they look at their income, and unfortunately a lot of their income is based on the stock market, and it's based on their house value. And as everybody knows, unless you're willing to sell your house and move to a second or a third world country, you're going to need to live somewhere. So that home equity and that value going up, if you're borrowing against it or you're kind of hanging your hat on that's how your net worth is growing, there's really not much value there that you can tap into because you always have to live somewhere. So the 2 biggest things that people are relying on for their retirement is their home, which they're going to need a place to live, and then the stock market. I think they said over 80% of the average American's net worth is tied up in those 2 assets, which is pretty scary.
Yeah, and that's true. And thus you have the instability of the markets, what's going on. And the fact that mainstream media, we know that they lie a lot and often portray things. But I think that considering it's so hard with the market because we're trillions and trillions dollars in debt thanks to Obama. Right. We were worse than we ever have been before, which the market, a lot of people say, yeah, it's doing a little better, but there's still a lot of instabilities of it and a lot of parallels from that 2008 time frame, which makes it almost terrifying to go out and purchase a home or get that college loan or whatever the case may be. So what is your advice for people that maybe are on the, it's time to buy? Is it not time to buy? What is your advice for people in this situation?
Well, I think the thing you have to look at, Lisa, is let's just look at the math of what's happened. Obviously, most people that have a 401k are ecstatic that the Dow, has been around 26,000, and it's a sign that less restriction, less government, more government, business-friendly initiatives, which President Trump has passed through, are helping the economy. You have the tax reform. Unemployment hit the lowest that it's hit in like 25 years. And these are all things that we've acknowledged on our silver coin. That's why we wanted to do it. We didn't want people to forget that there's been these unbelievable accomplishments. But I think what you have to look at is you look at the Dow at close to 26,000. When Obama was in office his last year, the Dow was at 6,500, 6,700. So in terms of the amount of fall that could happen, it's pretty dramatic. Even if the Dow were to drop in half, it would still be double than where it was in 2008. So there is a lot of room for it to pull back, and I think that's why a lot of people that are so tied up into these assets, they really need to look at being diversified. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, especially at retirement, because when you retire and you have to start pulling those funds out, you want to make sure that you can use the assets that haven't dropped so much in value. So if you have all your money in the stock market and next year we see the stock market pull back 50%, you're going to be selling some of your assets at a discount. And that's the last thing that you want to do, is you want to have different assets out there so that you're protected, and that'll help you grow and live through retirement, because everybody's living much longer than when they put Social Security into place. People are living to, their mid 70s, high 70s. Now they say people that are born today, actually the average length of life will be 100 plus. So if you're retiring at a normal time period, 65, 70, that means you're going to have 30 years of retirement that you're going to have to cover. Having just one asset, just having all your money in the stock market, or having it just in your home is not going to be able to afford the lifestyle and afford everything that you need through retirement. So you got to be diversified, Lisa.
And which I'm glad you offer, and which is why I back you guys and bring you on the show, is because you offer that. People can get gold, they can get silver, they can get precious metals, Bitcoin. You have that option as well, which I do a little bit of all of it. So I appreciate that. But here's something that I read. JP Morgan Chase, in one of those articles, you can find it in there. The head there has publicly declared just recently that the next financial crisis is going to result in social unrest not seen in the United States in over half a century. That's a bit, terrifying. And again, I may sound like a broken record, but I am dead serious when I say you need to diversify. You need to make sure you have stuff in all different pockets and spread your money out, because you just don't know the instability of the market, and especially social unrest. That's also why I'm a big, make sure you have food on hand, make sure you have gold and silver. You have to have those barterable items. And if you don't have, something solid to trade, then you're just going to be plumb out of luck. But again, that's why I enjoy people like you and bringing you on.
And it's interesting because JP Morgan has no incentive to come out with these kind of reports. They've also come out this year and said that they believe the co-chairman of JP Morgan came out and said that the stock market is absolutely inflated, and he believes within 12 to 18 months we're going to have a correction. And they're in the mutual fund stock market business. So it goes against what they're promoting, their products, but they're coming out and saying that, yeah, we see a correction, and they just want to let people know that they see, they're looking at the numbers, they're making sure that their clients are protected. And I'm sure if you're with JP Morgan, they're going to tell you to diversify some of your assets. When I think of social unrest, it's exactly what you were saying. I think the first thing people think to mind is, will our currency be devalued dramatically? Will there be runs on the bank? Those are the kind of things. That's why you want to have food. That's why you want to have things to protect yourself. We've seen this year a number of countries where people have gone into the banks. Greece is a great example where people go in the banks and they're waiting in line. They can't get their money. That could easily happen here in this country because all banking in the United States is fractional reserve banking, which means they're only required to have a minimum of 10% of the deposits on hand. So think about all the money that's out there that they don't even have access to if you're going to the bank. So, that's why people should be diversified. That's why you should have different investments. And that's why you should have your money in different banks and have some money in precious metals. So in the event that, let's say there is a bank run, gold and silver will always be used. And a lot of people say, well, what's gold and silver going to do for me in these situations? Anytime you have something physical that it's very easy to understand the value, it's always a bartering instrument. During 9/11, after 9/11, the stock market was shut down for 5 days. The physical metals market never closed, so people could buy and sell gold and silver. Gold and silver started to go up dramatically during that time period, and so people know that these goods have value because they're not printed out of thin air. There is a limited supply of gold and silver out there, especially gold, and so that's why a lot of people like to have these items on hand, just in the event that there is a social unrest and they feel more protected.
Agreed, 100%. Now, if people want to check your organization, the NobleGold, out, how can they do that? And then maybe we'll close with the Trump coin as well. So
yeah, so go NobleGoldInvestments.com. They can give us a call. Our phone lines are open 24 hours. If someone's not available, they'll take a message. So anytime someone's watching this, they can give us a call at 877 646-5347, and they can ask for any of our informational guides. We have a gold and silver IRA guide. We have a Bitcoin guide if they want to learn about it. We also have an inflation guide, a guide that explains the true inflation numbers. It was written by John Williams from shadowstats.com. Very interesting document. I think people will like to see that because it actually breaks down inflation in a way that people like us can understand, that we're not economists, and inflation is much higher than what's reported out there. So any of those guides are free, and if they have questions, they can talk to anybody here and get questions. Our company goal is to educate people on metals, cryptocurrency, anything that we offer, and so everything is free, and feel free to give us a call and get that information in their hands.
Perfect. Yeah. Inflation. I don't want this in America. That's for sure. It's only worth a couple bucks, right? But $10 billion note.
Yeah. I sent it. I wish I could have sent you a real $10 billion note, but yeah, unfortunately that note's only worth $1.50.
Yes. But it's all good. But with that, thanks again for coming on the broadcast, Colin, and shedding some light as to what's going on with the mainstream media. Also, if you guys want that Trump coin, you can get that at Trump Coin 2020. There's the front. You can see it there kind of in this light, and the back, his list of accomplishments, a great memorabilia, and another great thing to stock up on. And everything that Colin was talking about, along with the Trump coin, all the links are in the description box below. So click on those and make sure you diversify your profile and you get ready because there's a lot of talk from a lot of different angles, and it's something to just have a heads up about. And especially considering a lot of people are buying land overseas in New Zealand, and you've got some of the bankers preparing. That's a bit, at the edge. But with that, I love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven, and thank you again, Colin.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.